Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. Support for the show today comes from ZBiotics. And let me tell you something. With the schedule I'm on, I cannot afford to wake up feeling rough after a night out, and I need my mornings to work. So when I found ZBiotics pre-alcohol, it became part of my routine, and it happened right away. It is a small probiotic drink, the first of its kind, engineered by PhD scientists, real PhD scientists, to break down that toxic byproduct your body makes after you drink. That's the stuff that makes you feel slow and heavy the next day. So this goes to work before that buildup ever becomes a problem. Now, I tried it for the first time at a dinner party with friends. I took it before my first drink, and I had a great night. The next morning, I woke up, and I thought, all right, I'm good. No fog, no dragging myself out of bed. I felt ready to get up and do the show. So with the holidays coming, the parties, the toasts, the dinners, you want to feel your best the next day. So make ZBiotics your first drink of the night. Go to zbiotics.com/lemon. Use the code LEMON for 15% off of your first order. And if you don't love it, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. That's zbiotics.com/lemon. Use the code LEMON. Good morning, everyone. Sorry we're late. Couple things. One, I'm not feeling well. Two, I had connectivity issues, and I think a lot of people did. Cloud something flare is down, which is a way that we get our information here. So we apologize for that. I know everyone's like, CP time. It's not really CP time today. And then also, wow. This is a tough one because I've been sitting here talking to my team, not really looking at the up to see what's going on, because this has been really triggering for me this morning. Okay. And so I'll share some of that with you. So yeah. So thank you. And again, I apologize. We're not normally this late. You guys know that, but there were some things that were unavoidable. So good morning, everyone. Thank you. Yes, we put the tree up. Not quite done yet. We still have a lot more stuff to do. Move the lemon sign over, whatever. So you guys mind if I talk to you about this? And it's not really about me, but I can understand anyone who's a survivor of especially childhood sexual abuse, that it is, this would be a triggering day for them while you feel, and I'm actually really proud of the survivors here. Not all people are survivors. Some people become victims and then they don't survive this stuff. So again, I'm not feeling great this morning for a number of reasons, but no excuses. So please make sure that you hit the thumbs up and hit the like button. It does affect the algorithm. It's really important. Okay. So again, Cloudflare outage. Someone just explained what that was in the thing. Can someone capture that one? Cloudflare outage got us at my office too. Someone, yeah. So, yeah, Andy, explain what is Cloudflare and why is it out? Do we know?
I am not quite sure what it is. I think it's a cloud service that hosts a lot of different websites, kind of like Amazon Web Services has one. And they remember like a month ago, a bunch of stuff was down. I think it's similar to that.
And then last summer, what was the one that was down for the longest time? It was in the middle of the summer. It was, I forgot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
A huge outage. And it was, people were like, the stocks were tumbling because everybody was on that thing. And one of my friends is like on the board or something of that company. I can't remember the name of it. Anyways. Oh, see, some folks it's got their IT department. So you guys know what's up. I'm sure you guys are wondering, like, what the hell? Cloudflare is a DNS server, someone says. Huge chunk of internet goes down. Cloudflare outage, live updates. Huge chunk of internet goes down. So anyway, that's what happened to us. All right. So stand back and stand by, as you know who would say. So let's go. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Let me know where you are this morning. I always feel better when I have you guys to talk to. And so let me just say that, there are mornings when the news kind of feels like it's distant, right? Something happening in some other place, some other city, some other world that you're kind of disconnected from. It's not really happening. It's not close to you. And then there are mornings like this one when the news reaches into a place inside that you don't really like to talk about often. And you guys know I'm very transparent. I share everything with you guys. I'm very candid about everything. Tim always tells me to TMI, but that's just who I am. So sometimes the news it hits a place that some people never see, that you never see. And it can be built on something that you yourself survived. And it's not something that you studied, but that you have an intimate, detailed knowledge of, and you know how it feels. So when I watched the Epstein survivors speak today, I found it was like, what is going on? Why am there's something tightened, something in me remembered. And then I'm going to say this plainly, because honestly, it's easier than pretending. Like some of those women, something happened to me when I was a young boy. I was younger than 14. One of those tender ages that Megyn Kelly talked about, with that strange coldness recently. And I know that it's tough at any age. The ages people like to tiptoe around because the reality makes them really uncomfortable. So the ages when you should still be figuring out who you are, not fighting off trauma that goes, not even trauma that doesn't even have any words yet. And I always say, when I am in therapy about this, when I was in therapy, of just pertaining strictly to this, but a lot of it has to deal with this because this continues on throughout your life. I always say that my innocence was stolen, because most kids are innocent up until the time that they choose to participate in adult things. So, when I look at those women standing in front of microphones and in front of cameras and in front of a world that really failed them over and over, I don't see strangers there. I see courage. I see strength. I see determination, the kind of determination that survivors have that others simply can't fake. Let me tell you something, though. Let me tell you about the place that I'm speaking from this morning. And it's something about me. I can see you coming. I can spot a phony. I can spot a bullshitter. I can spot just about any type of personality, because of what happened to me at a very young age. I became really aware of people, and it taught me to be a quick study, to study people. So I can usually tell, I don't know why, I can tell when someone is lying to me. I can tell when they're not telling the full story. I know. People call it their spidey senses, but this is something that comes from experience, that the kind of experience that I would not wish on my worst enemy. These survivors know what I'm talking about. They know what we call the real ones, and they know the fake ones, because they didn't hold back. This morning, they didn't soften anything. They stood there and they said that they were betrayed. And they said they were betrayed not just by one man, although their ire was for one man. And it wasn't just by one administration, by powerful men, by presidents of both parties, they said, by institutions designed to protect them, and instead protected him, meaning Jeffrey Epstein. But they did direct most of their fire and ire at the president of the United States, who is Donald J. Trump, a man who is already back in the White House after having access to the files the first time he was in the White House. A man who has spent the last 24 hours, if not longer, in a panic spiral. So obviously, it was so obvious that you can hear what he's saying before he even opens his mouth. This is one woman who is saying to Donald Trump in this press conference this morning, shame on you. Watch.
It is also not a hoax. We are here as American survivors of a man who used his wealth and power to hurt young girls and women. The world should see the files to know who Jeffrey Epstein was and how the system catered to him and failed us. Emotionally, this process has been distressing. First, the administration said it would release everything and then applauded President Trump for that. Then it fought to release nothing. Now that checks and balances of our democracy have worked and the bill is getting passed to release the files, we are hearing the administration say they intend to investigate various Democrats who were friends with Epstein. I beg you, President Trump, please stop making this political. It is not about you, President Trump. You are our president. Please start acting like it. Show some class. Show some real leadership. Show that you actually care about the people other than yourself. I voted for you, but your behavior on this issue has been a national embarrassment. It is time to take the honest, moral ground and support the release of these files, not to weaponize pieces of the files against random political enemies that did nothing wrong, but to understand who Epstein's friends were, who covered for him, what financial institutions allowed his trafficking to continue, who knew what he was doing but was too much of a coward to do anything about it.
Yeah. I was shocked though, and as I've got to tell you, I was shocked when she said she voted for him. Now I don't know if she voted for him the first time or the second time or both times. I can't vote for someone who has been found guilty of in a civil court or liable for. I just can't. So that was surprising to me, but hey. I appreciate what she said, and I have all the respect in the world for her because she did survive this and she has a courage right now. But that moment stood out to me, and you can't tell me that it didn't stand out to you. I was like, wait, what? Yeah. There was another one of the victims or the survivor, I should say, who says that she's traumatized, but she's not stupid.
And to the President of the United States of America, who is not here today, I want to send a clear message to you. While I do understand that your position has changed on the Epstein Files, and I'm grateful that you have pledged to sign this bill, I can't help to be skeptical of what the agenda is. So with that being said, I want to relay this message to you. I am traumatized. I am not stupid. I am traumatized. I am not stupid. You have put us through so much stress, the lockdowns, the halt of these procedures that were supposed to have happened 50 days ago. The Adelita Grijalva who waited to get sworn in and then get upset when your own party goes against you because what is being done is wrong. It's not right. For your own self-serving purposes, this is America. This is land of the free. Land of the free. In 1863, we have a woman on top of the Capitol building represent freedom. I do not feel free today. I don't know if the women behind me feel free today. So I am begging every member of Congress, every representative to step up and choose the chaos. Choose the survivors. Choose the children. Protect the children. All children. You protect all of us equally. Thank you very much for your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I hear you guys. Someone said they voted for him because they thought he was going to release the files. Okay, that's fair. But we know he is a known liar, that every time he opens his mouth, he's lying. So I understand that. So hopefully they will, again, I respect her courage, and she's a grown woman. She can vote for who she wants to vote for. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That was a moment that just stood out to me because I watched very closely, and the press conference didn't end until a little bit before we came on. But here's the thing that I want you to know, as on this whole topic of that he was going to release the files or not release the files. So while these women were speaking, just a couple of hours before that, Donald Trump was on Air Force One attacking a female reporter who asked him about Epstein. She asked about the files the House may vote on releasing today. And she asked about his role, about what he knew, and the President of the United States, just standing there in the people's plane, because it's not his plane, it's our plane. And then he looked at a woman doing her job, and he called her, sounds like, if you're listening to it, he reportedly called her a piggy. Watch.
You got to find out, what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that they know, including J.P. Morgan Chase.
Sir,
Yeah,
is
Jennifer,
there
go
something
ahead, go ahead.
incriminating in the files? Venezuela, sir.
Quiet, Piggy.
Venezuela, sir, you've had a lot of meetings.
Yeah. And this is a man that people make excuses for. When you make excuses for, you can't call anybody else out for anything at all. Especially if you're a Republican supporting this man. And that's why we're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I'm just going to say it. I always have to be honest. I want her to be a changed person. And in this aspect, with this particular thing, she is saying and doing the right things. But anyone who is supporting this man and then calls out Democrats or tries to cancel people for saying things, it's just even like Democrats, like, wake up, people. This man can say and do anything, and people will make excuses for it. This man has hired people in his administration whose reputations precede them, let's put it that way. And yet he is in power. There is a lesson in this for people, a lesson just about winning, about strategizing, about owning a message, about understanding your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. But let that settle in. Donald Trump calling a woman, a working professional, a piggy. And remember, Donald Trump works for that reporter, who is, I assume, if she is an American, she's an American citizen, pays his salary. He says he doesn't take it, but still, she does. Just because he doesn't take the salary doesn't mean that our money doesn't go towards the salary. They don't say, oh, Donald Trump's not taking the salary, so you get your not even a penny. You know what I'm saying? So let that settle in. So a survivor speaks with dignity. The president responds from the sky with insults. The contrast could not be more clear. It couldn't be clearer right now. It's not just that he used that word. It's that he used it in the moment that he felt most exposed. Because it's not what people are, people say and do things, that are confounding sometimes. So it's not what people do when it's normal, everyday things that are happening, but it's when in times of trouble, when they are pressed. That's when the truth of a man or a person shows itself. When he feels cornered, he wants to show his strength by bullying someone else. When he feels vulnerable, when he feels that the past is creeping up behind him. And make no mistake, he feels that creep, because the first time in years, people in his own party are breaking ranks in broad daylight. Thomas Massie, Khanna, and yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Roll it.
And that's what we did by fighting so hard against the most powerful people in the world, even the President of the United States, in order to make this vote happen today. I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me. And I want to tell you that this only became possible today because the American people, whom we serve as representatives here in Congress, demanded that this vote happen, and they put more pressure on every single elected politician in this city than has ever been put on them. And today you are going to see probably a unanimous vote in the House to release the Epstein Files, but the real fight will happen after that.
So yes, she's right. You will see that vote later on, and then we'll see what the Senate does, and we'll see what the president does, because there's a catch. More of that in a moment. But these are not people that you saw standing there. The Khannas of the world, the Thomas Massies, the Marjorie Taylor Greene. These are not people who like join hands and they're always like kumbaya. Not people who share the same talking points, and not people who stand next to each other normally, unless something seismic is happening. And I think something seismic is happening right now. They stood together and they said the House must release the Epstein Files. They said they weren't quiet about it. They said loudly that they are tired of the obstruction. The American people deserve to know the truth. The survivors deserve the transparency. And they said with their full chest that although he has changed his tune now, but they don't believe that he really wants this vote to happen. That's not what his actions have shown. He does not want these files to see daylight. Marjorie Taylor Greene even said it out loud. She said, Trump is trying to block this. Trump is trying to stop it. Trump is pulling strings behind the scenes. And Thomas Massie is also saying it. You're going to hear from Thomas Massie, Khanna, and more right after word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Graza, the olive oil I keep on my kitchen counter because I use it as often as I can. With the holidays coming, let me give you a gift idea that people actually appreciate and I actually use, and they actually use. Really good olive oil. Graza is my go-to because it's single origin, always fresh, never blended. You can see the harvest date on the bottle. I love that. And their gift sets make holiday shopping simple. Their new dinner party pack is great. It comes with limited edition bottle of wine, the sizzle and drizzle olive oils, a custom corkscrew, and olive oil potato chips. It's basically a whole vibe in a box. Or you can go with the duo gift set. Sizzle for cooking, drizzle for finishing, and now they even come in glass bottles. They look beautiful on the counter. I cook with it, as I said, every day. Everything tastes better with it. So treat yourself for the holiday and get this for your friends and for yourself and your family. So head to graza.co/Don and use the code Don for 10% off of your order. That's graza.co and use the code Don for 10% off of your order. Support comes from Beam. And look, I take sleep very seriously with everything I've got going on. If I'm not sleeping well, it shows. I feel it and everyone around me feels it too. That's why Beam's Dream Powder has become part of my nightly routine. Dream is made with clean, simple ingredients like magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, a little melatonin, nothing heavy, just the right blend to help you fall asleep fast, stay asleep, and wake up feeling like yourself. No groggy mornings, no dragging. And right now, Beam is running their cyber sale. You can get up to 50% off with my code LEMON. Dream is just $32.50. That's about $1 a night for the sleep that you have been trying to get. So you can go and get it right now. It tastes great. It tastes like a dessert, but it just helps you to unwind. And about 20 minutes later, you relax. So Beam has improved over 18 million nights of sleep, mine included. Go to shopbeam.com/lemon. Use the code LEMON for up to 50% off. This price will not last. Thank you to our sponsors this morning. Okay. So again, we are discussing what's happening in Washington and what happened right now. Let's put up some of the things that we can just show, Andy. So we had the press conference that happened earlier. You see the White House there, this live on the right. The press conference was earlier at the top right. And then you see, this is Steve Scalise, a Republican. He's actually from Louisiana. By the way, and then on the right is the House floor. But can we roll up Steve Scalise, please? Can we bring that one full? Okay. And then there's Mike Johnson there and some other folks behind him. Yeah. So Steve Scalise has lost a ton of weight, right? Steve Scalise and I went to college at the same time. We're at LSU at the same time. Let that settle in. Now back to the press conference. Marjorie Taylor Greene spoke out this morning and again called out the president. If Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling out the president, she wants to defend it like a religion. You know something has to be shattered. Something broke open. Something is spilling out. Here she is.
While I want to see every single name released so that these women don't have to live in fear and intimidation, which is something I've had a small taste of in just the past few days, just a small taste. They've been living it for years. But the real test will be, will the Department of Justice release the files? Or will it all remain tied up in investigations? Will the CIA release the files? Will a judge in New York release the information? That's information that needs to come out. And will the list of names that these women privately hold, and they hold it because of their fear in their heart of what would happen to them if they release it on their own, will that list of names come out? That's the real test. So I want to thank Thomas Massie and Khanna for your bravery in doing something that is much needed in America, crossing the political aisle that has become bigger than the Grand Canyon in America. But these men crossed that aisle on behalf of these women. And that is more of what is needed today in America than ever in our history. So thank you so much. Who's next?
So that was Marjorie Taylor Greene this morning, and standing there with the survivors and other members of other congressional members. The survivors felt that shift too that I'm talking about. I said something seismic. You could hear it in the tone of their voices this morning. The gratitude, but also suspicion, which they should. And they were very suspicious of Donald Trump. They said, yeah, I know that you said you've changed your mind this time, but I'm looking at you with a cautious eye. They were they were grateful for the possibility of truth. Suspicion because they have been lied to for so many times. They said that they were tired. They said that they were weary. They said that they were done with being told to wait. But they did not sound defeated at all. They sounded like people who have reached the point where fear is gone and there is nothing left but truth. When you're like, look, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm so sick of this shit. Like, I don't care. Come what may. Let's get it all out. And that is the same point that Donald Trump is terrified of. Because if these files were harmless, they would have already been out. And guess what? He doesn't need Congress. Here's the skinny. He doesn't need Congress to release these. He can release it himself. He doesn't need to go through the whole procedure of having this discharge resolution. Nothing. If these files exonerated him, he would have held a primetime address in the East Room, reading them like a scripture, quoting them, like Bill Barr did when he misinformed people about the results of the Russia investigation. If they only implicated Democrats, these Epstein files, Fox News would have turned the documents into a week-long special. Now, here's the thing. Every other cable network, I believe, or most of them, were running this press conference. They ran this press conference. Guess who didn't run it live? Guess who didn't run it live? And according to all sources, they were doing a story about a truck driver, an undocumented truck driver that was detained and deported. Didn't run it. So the Fox News folks will never see this press conference unless somebody like forces them to watch it, and then they won't believe it. So what is happening instead of, this, and down behind the scenes, Donald Trump is pacing. He's calling lawmakers. He's leaning on Republicans, publicly unraveling. That's what he was doing last week. He's calling men, this week, women, names mid-flight. So I've been doing this for a very long time to know what fear looks like. I spent my life talking to people who thought that they could hide the truth behind the power that they possessed. I've worked with some very cunning and devious people, and they all break the same way. They get louder, they get crueler, they get more childish, they get more desperate, and eventually they run out of places to hide. Now, let me tell you something. I know that you may not feel it in the moment, but karma is a bitch. And you will watch them. They will pretend it's not a big deal, but karma's a bitch. It always, all you have to do is just sit back and just know and watch. And so when the survivors spoke this morning, I didn't just hear their stories. I heard their exhaustion. I heard the years in their voices. I heard all the doors that had been closed in their faces. They said, look, when this particular thing first happened, Bill Clinton was president, and then this happened, and they said George Bush was president, and they said, and then this happened, and Barack Obama was president, and then this happened, Donald Trump was president, and then this happened, Joe Biden was president, and now this is happening, and Donald Trump is president again. So I heard them. And I heard something that I know intimately, that the moment when the shame does not belong to you anymore, when you're like, you know what, this isn't my shame. And the shame goes back to the people who caused it. When you decide, you know what, I'm not going to carry this anymore. And that's why I'm such a proponent of therapy. And I know people all the time, I don't need no therapy. I don't know. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Because that's what happens when you realize, I don't have anything. I'm free. I don't have anything to hide. I don't have to carry this. I don't have to carry the grief of anything. The grief from anything. You don't have to carry it. You just have to understand what it is and acknowledge what it is. That's what you have to do. So I admire these women. I honor them. And if you are watching this right now and you are a survivor of anything like this, I want you to first tell somebody, make sure that you've done that. But I want you also to listen to me. I want to tell you something gently here, that you are not alone. I was a kid and I carried something like this silently for years. I know how heavy it is. I know how strange it feels to have your childhood interrupted, to have your innocence stolen, taken away from you at a very young age. I know how long the shadow of that lasts, that it casts over your life, that it can. But I also know something else, that those survivors proved today that you can reclaim your voice, that you can reclaim your dignity, your own story, stand up in front of a world that once looked away and say, you know what, I'm still here, and you need to pay attention to me. What did James Baldwin say? The truth does not change because we refuse to face it. Once you change yourself, you change everything You change your surroundings. You change how you feel about it. You change the energy in your life, what the universe brings into your life, what the universe releases. And you know that the old cliche when they say the Lord works in mysterious ways with wonders to perform. Sometimes you don't know why you're going through certain things, because it's not always obvious, because it doesn't move in the way that you want it to move. But then you're like, wow, this is what this was preparing me for. That moment was preparing me for this moment, and this moment, and this moment. And then you realize that's why I'm a believer, because I know that there are things that would not have happened in my life and that I would not have survived if it hadn't been for something greater and bigger than myself. So I believe that something greater and bigger is what carried these women forward today. And that fear of exposure makes the men around them reckless and weak. And so here we are. The survivors stood in truth. Congress is inching towards that truth today. Trump is doing what men who fear truth always do. He's insulting, he's distracting, he's lashing out. Do not trust him as far as you can throw him. That's why I always like to say, okay, I believe that people can change. I believe that people can change. However, show me better than you can tell me. The man, one of the victims at least voted for, the man that you may have voted for, he's calling women piggy. If the House votes today to release these files, it will not be because politicians grew spines overnight. It's going to be because the survivors pulled them into the light. And it's also going to be because some of these lawmakers demanded it, like Thomas Massie. Roll it.
I have people, other survivors of other sex crimes, who come to me and say, thank you. You give me hope. You give us hope. There is hope here. We fought the president, the attorney general, the FBI director, the speaker of the House, and the vice president to get this win. But they're on our side today, though. So let's give them some credit as well. They are finally on the side of justice. And as Rose said, don't muck it up in the Senate. Don't get too cute. We're all paying attention. If you want to add some additional protections for these survivors, go for it. But if you do anything that prevents any disclosure, you are not for the people and you are not part of this effort. Do not muck it up in the Senate.
Wow. Yeah, something popped up that I really want to talk about. You're sharing this publicly. So David McFarland, 5385, says, Donna was molested when I was a child. I'm 67 years old and I haven't told anyone about it. Well, you just did. And I hope that makes you feel better. And I hope that you can get it off of your chest. And I appreciate that you can share that here, that you're comfortable enough to be able to share this in this community. That's why I'm so proud of what we've done here, because it's not just a channel. I'm not just talking to you like some news reporter sitting there just giving the news, or we're yelling at each other and all that shit. We're actually a family here. So David McFarland, I'm so happy that you survived it. I'm sorry that it happened to you, but I'm glad that you survived it after all these years. And maybe you can offer someone some help, and maybe you've offered someone some help and some hope who will watch this. If not live now, we'll click on it later. I wish that I could get your information to talk to you. Why don't you email us at thedonlemonshow@gmail.com. Put the donlemonshow@gmail.com up there, guys. And then, so that's where, if you want to email us. Okay. Also, Khanna, who is a Democrat. Thomas Massie's the Republican. He and Khanna, who is a Democrat. This is a bipartisan bill. that a bipartisan effort, I should say, this discharge resolution that they themselves introduced and they have been backing, and then they got Marjorie Taylor Greene to come along and others. And here is Khanna.
And you had rich and powerful men, some of the richest people in the world, who thought that they could hang out with bankers, buy off politicians, and abuse and rape America's girls with no consequence. Because survivors spoke up, because of their courage, the truth is finally going to come out. And when it comes out, this country is really going to have a moral reckoning. How did we allow this to happen? There should be no buildings named after people in this Epstein class. There should be no scholarships named after them. They shouldn't be enjoying the perks of being affiliated with corporations or universities or writing op-eds or being lionized. And many of the survivors will tell you some of these people still are celebrated in our society. That's disgusting. There needs to be accountability.
And he is right, 100%. Here's one thing that you should also know. It's that it's not over yet. It's not over yet, okay? Because they're concerned about some trickery. Khanna will explain. Here it is.
The right thing for survivors. We're going to get a vote today. I expect an overwhelming vote in the House of Representatives, and I don't want the DC swamp playing any games. They need to pass this in the Senate, and they should not amend it. President Trump has said he would sign the Epstein Transparency Act. It's going to get overwhelming support in the House. It should go straight to the Senate, and it should be signed. No amendments, no adding loopholes. Justice is long overdue.
And so what they're concerned about is that they'll say that that this is still under investigation and they can't release the files, that the Trump administration and his Justice Department will do some sort of trickery, and that's what will happen. Okay? So if this all happens, if this all comes to light, if the vote goes the way it is, it's going to be because the public demanded it. It's going to be because the dam finally cracked and people realize that they cannot outrun what is already coming. And I'm going to tell you right now, the truth is moving. I can feel it. I've been telling you that. I've been telling you all along. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. I hate to keep repeating myself. This is a thing that breaks the spell. The truth is rising. The truth is no longer just a request. It is a force. And Donald Trump knows it. He's feeling it right now. He can't insult his way out of it, no matter how many piggies he calls reporters. This morning, and just of late, these survivors have taken back their power, and the country is finally listening to them. Do not be distracted and let their voices drown out by some distraction that Donald Trump creates or some problem that he creates and then pretends to fix it. Don't let that happen. A word from our sponsors. Support comes from Lean. And let me tell you, holiday sales are everywhere right now, but there are some doctors who have a Friday sale, and that really made me pay attention. Brickhouse Nutrition just launched their biggest sale of the year. Everything on their site is 30% off. These are doctor-formulated supplements that people really use. Now, I have talked to you about Lean, their weight loss supplement for people who want meaningful results without injections. Many of you have written in saying that you feel better, more in control, more energized. And they've got other great products too, like creatine. It's creatine made just for women to help you feel strong, lean, and toned. And Field of Greens, that's a fruits and vegetable blend that's been shown in a university study to slow aging. All of it is 30% off right now, but it goes quickly every single year. So go to brickhousesale.com and take advantage of the Black Friday savings while they're still up. That's brickhousesale.com. Support comes from Cozy Earth, and if you've ever slept on their sheets, and you already know why, I'm happy to talk about it. There's a moment during the holidays where I look forward to every single year. The house is quiet, the lights are low, just the Christmas tree lights. I'm on the couch wrapped under one of their blankets with my family. That's real cozy. That's the feeling that we're all chasing this December. Their sheets are made from viscose, from bamboo, which means they breathe. They keep you cool and they keep you comfortable. And once you sleep on them, it's hard to go back to anything else. I've gifted Cozy Earth to people that I know, and some of the folks are really impossible to shop for, and now they ask for it every year. So that tells you everything that you need to know. They offer a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. And right now, you can stack my code DON on top of their site-wide sale and save up to 40%. So go to CozyEarth.com and use the code DON for up to 40% off. Start your holiday shopping early and wrap the people you love in something that they will love and that will last. Thanks to our sponsors. Thank you so much to our sponsors. And thank you guys for waiting. Again, I apologize. I'm sorry that you waited. And I hope I didn't share too much with you today, because you guys know that's just who I am. I think it's better to just say it, and then you have no secrets. Nothing. There's something that, we have been discussing. Okay. Someone mentioned something in the chat about Chris Cillizza, and it reminded me of Ryan Lizza for some reason. I don't know if you guys know about this story. It may be too inside baseball, but there's like this really crazy story going around about Olivia Nuzzi. Do you guys know who that is? She was a writer. I think she was a writer for New York Magazine, and then she was found to reportedly, I guess she's admitted to have a relationship with RFK Jr. during the campaign, and New York Magazine let her go. I think she's been hired by Vanity Fair now. But anyway, and I know her. I've worked with her, and she and Ryan Lizza were in a relationship for a long time. Well, anyway, she has this tell-all coming out and blah, 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 blah. And now this is the new TJ and Amy, right? Well, not really, because these two broke up. It's not the same thing. Sorry, TJ and Amy. It's not really the same thing. But now he is on Substack. Like, he's put up, this is her thing. What is this that we have of Olivia? I think her book is called Did It All for Love or something. I don't know what it is. But anyway, it's just a bizarre kind of story. And that is, this is the New York Times. This is Jacob Bernstein. Yeah. Okay. And then Ryan Lizza is on Substack, just spilling all. Have you guys heard about this story? Yeah. So I guess you have to subscribe in order to get Ryan's stuff, because he's behind a paywall. I would imagine some of it's free. And then
there it is.
There it is. So Ryan is saying, from what I know, because I haven't been paying attention to it, but I have some people, Peter, if you're there, who is paying close attention to it. And so Ryan in this is talking about, this is just released, yesterday, saying that I think Olivia, for her first Vanity Fair piece, I could be wrong or whatever, she did a recent piece on someone who had run for president she had an affair with, and it turned out to be what was his name? Mark, the guy from the Appalachian Trail or whatever.
Mark Sanford, who ran for president. And then Ryan is coming out saying, yeah, she slept with him too.
And Don, she was.
And he found out because it was a note from a Kimpton hotel on a notepad, and it fell out of her backpack, and he found it, right? But anyway, go on.
Yes, I was just going to add, the other thing about this whole affair that is so crazy is Olivia's very young. I think she's only 32 now. So that first alleged affair happened when she was like 25 or 26 years old. Like, the lifetimes that this woman has lived is really quite astounding.
I know her. I don't know her that well, but I do know her. I know people who are friends with her, who are buddies with her. They say birds of a feather. But anyway, look, she's going for it. She doesn't care. She's going for it. She is like, I'm just going to do it. And everybody's talking about it, but wow.
I do like the Joan Didion mystique that she's going for, you know, with the car and the sunglasses and
it's all
black and white
orchestrated.
vibe.
It's all
for sure. But I mean, if you're going to pick a vibe, it's not a bad vibe to pick. All I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Enough of that. That was our salacious thing of the moment. Why are you so obsessed with this? Because Tim asked me if I knew about it. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I just don't keep up with that stuff. Why are you obsessed with it?
I'm obsessed with it because, I mean, it's it's what's the expression? Rubbernecking. It's like when you're driving on the highway and you see a car crash and you don't want to watch, but you can't help but watch. I think it's the combination of, both Olivia and Ryan have, shall we say, made curious decisions throughout their lives. Ryan was previously married. He left that marriage to join up with Olivia. She then apparently has had, multiple romantic entanglements, yes, with Sanford, but then also, of course, infamously with RFK Jr. She, in the sort of splashy rollout for the book that she's releasing early next month, she has disclosed that RFK Jr. said that he, quote unquote, loved her, said that he wanted to have babies with her. It's just all of this is very, very messy. If anyone in the chat is familiar with Marie Kondo from Netflix, it's very, I just love mess. It's all so messy.
You know what? Honestly, it's so weird. I respect that. I don't give a fuck. Like, I could care less about any of this stuff. I just don't care. And someone put the comment up. I just don't care. And someone did text me among my journalist friends group, and it was a group of Black journalists, and they're like, "Can you imagine if we did this?" First of all, Vanity Fair would not be hiring us to do anything. We would be fired. We would be canceled. They would be spreading all kinds of nasty things. But apparently, if you have a certain ethnicity and you get a PR team behind you and the people who are in the business and they're your friends, they're going to write stuff about you and they're going to lift you up. So they were like, Don, can you imagine if that was me or blah, 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 or you or whatever, what would happen? We'd be excoriated.
Yep.
Is anybody excoriating her?
I would say that the public reaction at the very least is quite negative.
And inside the business?
I was just at a press party last night that we can talk about later, Don, and there were a couple of Vanity Fair reporters there, and yes, I think the public's reaction is far harsher. I will submit to that.
I don't understand. I can't see why Vanity Fair hired someone. I mean, look, they can hire who they want. This is nothing personal about Olivia, but it used to be like something like that, where if you slept with sources, they would say, can't do it. Do you know what I'm saying? And it happens now. Yeah. I know people who do. I know women who do. I worked with them. They have. And I'm sure there's some men who have done it too, with sources or with people that they are reporting on or writing on or guests on their programs. One day I have to write a tell-all. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Thank you. If you want to know anything about the show, thank you, Peter. If you want to know anything about the show, go to donlemon.com. You can become a member and you can also subscribe. Subscriptions are free. Memberships are very reasonable. Also, you can go to donlemon.com. Yep. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go to donlemon.com and you can check out our merch because you guys asked for it. And so tonight, I would say when you come, because I need to go to bed, because tonight I'm going to be with Jennifer Welch, who is going to be with me at City Winery along with Anthony Scaramucci. Doors open at 6 and the show starts at 7:30. And also Jay Jordan is going to be there as well, our special guest. And so, but there's a wait list, so maybe you can get on. I do have 2 tickets or 1 ticket. My friend is sick, has some eye issues, so he's offered me his ticket. So if anyone wants a ticket, let me know. So there you go. And then on the 8th of December, we're going to be in Philadelphia. I think there's like 6 or 7 more tickets left. So you better get them now if you're going to go. DL Hughley and I are going to be in Philadelphia. And on the 10th, we're going to be in Chicago. There was a wait list for this one because it sold out. And then we're going to add a show at 10:30 at night. So go check it out if you're in the Chicago area and you want a late night vibe, lounge vibe. Come hang out with me and DL at 10:30 in the evening. It's Central. So, that's late. It's 11:30 Eastern, but it's Central, 10:30 in Chicago. So there you go. All right. So I hope to see you guys tonight. I'm going to take some Tylenol. I'm going to do something. Someone said take Tylenol. Hey, Boomer, Barkley, come here, boys. Get over here. They're being naughty in there. Okay. There they are. So you can be informed without being inundated. I'm going to see you back here at 5 p.m. Eastern time for the Don Lemon Show on the Don Lemon channel. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to have a great day. Become a member of the channel. Don't sit in front of the TV all day and become outraged. You just watch us at 5 and turn the TV off. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.